What's up, gamers? My name is Leighton Gray, and I'm the co-creator, co-writer, and art director of Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. The dating sim, thank you. The dating sim where you play as a hot dad and your goal is to meet and romance other hot dads. And it's a game that would not have been possible without the wonderful, talented, patient people of Glitch City. So thank y'all very much. And, oh God, please no more technical difficulties. Why? Great, well, there's another slide, I promise. There we go. Today I'm here to give you a shortened version of the talk I gave at GDC this year about Metamodernism, so this will be less of a 60-minute ramble and more me slapping you in the face with art history and then running away as fast as possible. So before I explain what the heck Metamodernism is and why you gamers should care about it, let's do a quick refresher on art history. So modernism was the first major art movement of the 20th century. This movement encouraged artists and writers to try new things and explore unorthodox ideas with genuine enthusiasm and to question everything. And as we approach the mid to late 20th century, the reaction to modernism was postmodernism. And much like how modernism came about as a response to the Romantic movement, postmodernism aimed to deconstruct the more generative tenets of modernism. And as a whole, postmodernism can be defined by a heavy sense of cynicism and irony towards everything. There's a huge emphasis on nihilism and the idea that truth is a subjective construct, and it made things like parody and pastiche popular. But at this point, the sensibilities of postmodernism are pretty outdated. Postmodernism doesn't really give us the tools that we need to meaningfully navigate our relationship with current content because the internet has totally changed the way that we create, consume, and share media. And I think that everyone here wants to make something that gets people excited and makes them want to share your work with their friends. Like these lovely gamers. And creating something that really hooks people online and doesn't just get lost in all of the noise is a pretty daunting challenge, simply because of how quickly online discussion moves. But if we can contextualize internet culture within the past century of art history and how video games fit into this framework, we can start analyzing how we can imbue our work with meaning that is relevant to where our cultural consciousness is now, as opposed to just pulling like a Denny's Twitter account and parroting stale memes in a desperate attempt to appeal to the youths. So on a sliding scale of sincerity and cynicism, with modernism being very sincere and postmodernism being very cynical, right here jumbling around in the middle is our friend Metamodernism, which in a nutshell is a movement defined by ironic detachment with sincere engagement. And it's pretty well embodied by this Jerry Saltz quote, "I know that the art I'm creating may seem silly, even stupid, or that it might have been done before, but that doesn't mean that this isn't serious." And the Metamodernist Manifesto was written by artist Luke Turner and the man, the meme, the legend himself, Shia LaBeouf. And here's a basic rundown of the core tenets of Metamodernism. It acknowledges that prescribing exclusively to either modern or postmodern ideas limits our ability to tell robust, complex stories, and that the best storytelling comes from oscillating between two poles, primarily sincerity and cynicism, but also highbrow and lowbrow, optimism and doubt, relativism and truth, etc. Further, metamodern media also aims to collapse the distances between disparate groups of people by embracing diversity and inclusivity. It acknowledges the layered identities that we present both online and in real life. And finally, it embodies a sense of radical optimism and self-love in the face of decades of postmodernism's like sneering, unbridled cynicism. And to put all of this in perspective, let's take a look at some games that I would consider postmodern versus a few that I think are firmly metamodern. Oh God. The Stanley Parable and Portal both deconstruct ideas surrounding player agency, and a game like Sonic Dreams Collection lampoon Sonic fan culture. And I feel like these games are pretty resoundingly cynical and feature varying degrees of subversion in their respective genres. And progressing past this era of postmodern work, we have games like Undertale and Doki-Doki Literature Club. The distinction here is that both games are deconstructions of deconstructions. Undertale is particularly notable in this regard because it plays with RPG tropes in several different ways. The fact that the player is constantly faced with choosing between pacifism and violence and then has to live with the consequences is very metamodern because, again, it's that oscillation between two poles without totally reconciling them. And Doki-Doki Literature Club is another fantastic example because it Trojan horses a horror game into a cutesy anime girl dating sim. The game manages to simultaneously be cutesy, sweet, and endearing while also absolutely horrific, and it kind of allows the player to hold both ideas at once. Sorry to leave you guys hanging. And I believe that it's no coincidence that those two games have enjoyed a lot of success and have garnered massive fandoms because ultimately metamodernism informs all of internet culture, and some of the other works that I would consider metamodern are all really popular things. So really the core to metamodernism is this idea of sincerity wrapped in cynicism, like a delicious empanada. We were able to use this principle really successfully with Dream Daddy because we lured people in with the promise of silly, smutty dad joke content, and we were able to pleasantly surprise them with a genuinely heartfelt story about fatherhood. And so now that you're familiar with the tenets of metamodernism, as the Metamodern Manifesto states, go forth and oscillate. Thank you. And if you want like a more in-depth breakdown of metamodernism, check out that link because there's more content than you could ever want to know about metamodernism. So thank you.